Welcome back to the Invesco Funds pregame show.
A stirring national anthem rendition given by Kate Mara, the great-granddaughter of Art Rooney, as you take a look at the pomp and circumstance before today's game. Chris Collinsworth.
First of all, I think we're all ready to play after those introductions, but eventually in this ball game, Sean Williams and Sam Garnes, the two safeties for the Giants, are going to have to make a play down the field against Randy Moss.
I wish I was 25 again. I had the opportunity to hit someone. I am Jack. We started with 12. We're down to 4. Someone goes on to play in the Super Bowl.
I'll let you hit me when we go off the air, but it'll cost you later. Andy Reid gave Sherman Lewis, the offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, all their defensive breakdowns of the Giants. So if you think Minnesota has all the answers offensively today, you can actually thank the Philadelphia Eagles coach Andy Reid.
The NFC title game upcoming, the Vikings and the Giants. Up next, the men who will call today's game, Pat Summerall and John Madden, after this.
You're watching the NFC Championship on Fox.
When you sit down at the drawing board to design a championship team, you must study all the angles, anticipate the variables, and assemble the right components. The Vikings have designed a soaring high-rise offense built with flexible steel, a fast-track, elegant structure reaching to the heavens, mixed with a well-grounded attack carried out with machine-like precision that can excite and inspire. The New York Giants are a football factory cemented in the tradition of yesteryear, a foundation based on a steel-fisted defense rising up from blocks of granite, and an offense rooted with a sturdy ground game. Both teams have drafted their blueprints for success. For the winner, Super Bowl 35 awaits.
It is a wild and raucous sellout crowd at Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands. Lawrence Taylor, Hall of Famer Harry Carson alongside him, ex-Giant defensive stalwarts, as the Giants entertain the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship battle. I'm Pat Summerall here with John Madden, and John, this is the scene. This is where it's all at. The winner of this goes to the Super Bowl, the loser goes home, and the finality of all that is kind of tough to take sometimes.
And that's what makes it so great, and that's why you get fans acting and reacting like this. And I'll tell you, there's a heck of a lot of difference getting here in the championship game and winning the championship game. And the Minnesota Vikings know that, because in 1998, they got to the championship game, they lost the championship game, and that is a real downer. So you want to get here, you want to win it, and then 2 weeks from today, you're playing in Tampa. Now, the Vikings, you know, at the end of the year, they didn't play well. They lost their last 3 games. We saw them in one of those games, and they didn't look like the same team. But Denny Green said the bye helped them. They got their confidence back. Their quarterback, Dante Culpepper, got a little more healthy with that high ankle sprain. And it's going to be on his arm today. I mean, I think because the thing that they have to do to beat the Giants is they have to get the ball to Chris Carter and to Randy Moss, and this is a guy that has to do it. Then on defense, we talked to Emmett Thomas last night. He said that he thought they got away from being aggressive, and they want to be more aggressive today and go after Kerry Collins.
They're going to come after the Giants. Speaking of the Giants, a lot of people thought certainly this wouldn't be the team with the best record in the NFC. They wouldn't be in the championship game when this season began. This Giant team surprise you?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I think they surprised me. I think they surprised everyone. But the key word is that they've done it as a team. You know, they have a good running game. They have good mixture. They don't make mistakes. They play strong defense. They have good special teams. But I think today they're going to have to do more than that. I think they're going to, as Sean Payton, our offensive coordinator, said, this is going to be Air Force Week. We're going to have to air it out. And I think a big part of it is going to be on Kerry Collins, because you can't play the Minnesota Vikings, an explosive offensive team, and not score touchdowns. On defense, they have to handle the speed of the Minnesota Vikings. And of course, when you talk about the speed of the Minnesota Vikings, you're talking about Randy Moss. This is going to be a heck of a game.
Coming up, the Vikings and the Giants fight for ownership of the NFC Championship. John and I will be back.
The ship's up. All right? Everything you ever dreamed of, baby, go get it for yourself today. Let's
Football League.
Welcome back to a rockin' Giant Stadium, folks, where one of these teams is just 60 football minutes away from Tampa in Super Bowl 35. And you know, when you're this close to the prize, you pull out all the stops. And for both teams this week, it meant bringing back ex-players from their championship seasons as honorary captains.
It is heads.
I'll tell you what, that was a couple of minutes ago. As for right now, Denny Green is recommending that all his players wear baseball spikes because he says the field's being torn up a little bit. Now, these spikes have a little shorter, a little narrower distance. They seem to dig into the ground a little bit better than the old standard cleats. It looks a lot like this. So both teams will be wearing these, especially the Vikings. It's now game time. Back up to you, Pat.
Game time indeed. And Mitch Berger. Take a look at the weather. The temperature at 37 degrees. It feels a lot warmer than that. Wind 3 miles an hour. That's very unusual for this time of year. Partly cloudy. You can't blame the wind and the weather today.
No, there's no excuses. And for championship football, there shouldn't be any excuses anyway.
Berger
just go out and play 60 minutes.
Berger to kick it off. Ron Dixon is deep for the Giants, and he's the man who brought it back. But that's not him. That's Damon Washington. Now Washington down at the 25. I started to say it was Dixon who scored against the Eagles on the opening kickoff last week. This is the Giants offensive line. Lomas Brown and Glenn Parker, the two veterans on the left. Dusty Ziegler, the center. Ron Stone headed for the Pro Bowl, and Luke Pettigrew. Amani Toomer and Ike Hilliard, the wide receivers. Howard Cross, tight end. In the backfield, Tiki Barber and the fullback Greg Camella. A Viking shaken up on the play. It's Dane, not Barber, that's going to start with Greg Camella. Pete Bursich injured on the opening kickoff, but it doesn't appear to be serious. 1st and 10 Giants at their own 25. Pat Summerall, John Madden, the NFC Championship game. Weather perfect, sellout crowd. What else could you ask for?
Nothing.
Hilliard is the man in motion. Holland. Toomer. 1st down Giants. Let's look at the Minnesota defense. Toomer was supposed to be hurt. He didn't look like it. Here's the Viking defensive line. Fernando Smith starting. Williams, Hovan, and John Randall. McDaniel, Kylie Wong, and Dwayne Rudd, the linebackers. In the secondary, Tate and Saranga, the cornerbacks. Carter and the All-Pro Robert Griffith, the safety man. Barber now the running back. Fake to Barber, the throw complete. Toomer again.
And we talked about the Air Force. That's what Sean Payton said. That's what Kerry Collins said. And this is a little surprise to me. Amani Toomer, we were out there. He didn't practice on Wednesday. He didn't practice on Thursday. We're out there on Friday, and he really didn't look good on Friday. And I remember in the middle of the season one time when Amani Toomer didn't practice during the week, didn't play well. In fact, Jim Fossil benched him after that. He's off to a good start.
He needs to practice usually.
Yeah, but I mean, he's caught 2 passes here in his first drive.
2 very fine passes by Collins. Here's Tiki Barber. Right side for a couple.
It was funny last week when they did the Philadelphia Eagle game. Jim Johnson, the coordinator for the Eagles, the first time I'd ever heard anyone say that they had a double, a wide receiver of the Giants. Then this week we talked to the Minnesota Vikings, and they also say it. So it's the second time they also say that they are going to double Amani Toomer.
Second and long, the dime package in for Minnesota's defense.
And the left side there is Emmett Thomas, the defensive coordinator in the Vikings. The right side was Sean Payton, the offensive coordinator.
Camella went in motion. Here's Collins back to throw. Time. Hilliard, touchdown.
The Air Force has been pulled out.
They went to work throwing it. One running play.
LT says that's not the kind of Giant offense I remember.
And you can't throw it much better than Kerry Collins did on those 3 passes.
That was perfect. You're going to see Ike Hilliard here. He starts to the outside, and he just splits them, and Kerry Collins throws a perfect pass. That was just a seam route. Watch here. Kerry Collins knows where he's going. That's called a vertical seam, and he just has Ike Hilliard going up the seam, and he watched them all the way and threw a perfect strike.
And I think Ike Hilliard knew where he was headed.
I think Ike Hilliard saw that coverage and said the ball is coming to old Ike.
The Giants break on top, 7-0. They look sharp. The Giants 7, Minnesota 0. Kerry Collins threw for 125 yards against the Eagles last week. He threw for 472 on that drive just now.
Look at that. The Giants are 11-0 when they score first. That's an omen.
That sure is an omen
for a staff.
Troy Walters back deep for Daniel Isso's kickoff. The ball bounces in front of him, gets away from him. They juggled it, and finally, maybe they came up with it. There's still a scramble. There's still a scramble going on, and I'm not sure who got it.
Looked like the Vikings had it first.
But I think it squirted away from the first Viking. Now there's a fight.
There's 4 officials in there.
The Giants. The Giants.
What a start for the Giants, huh? We always talk about offense and defense. How about special teams?
Boy, when we got here at 9 o'clock this morning, the parking lot, the tailgaters were already here. And they got something to yell about now, don't they?
See, this is one of those ugly kicks that hits about the 17-yard line, and he just runs into his own guy. I mean, there were 2 of them there, and he got hit by his own guy, and the ball was knocked out of there.
It was Mo Williams and Troy Walters back deep. That was the 2 that got confused and lost the ball. 1st and 10 at the Minnesota 18. Collins back to throw it. Looking in the corner, he's got Camella, touchdown.
This is amazing. They knew they had to come out and strike fast. They knew they had to pass the ball, but I don't think in their wildest dreams they could have dreamt this.
In no one's wildest dreams would they have thought this.
In fact, that was Greg Camella's first NFL touchdown. But Kerry Collins knows where he's going. He kind of looks off in the middle, and then he throws a perfect strike to Camella. Dwayne Rudd was the closest guy to him, but he had him beaten.
Kerry Collins. Off to a flaming start.
We've been watching Kerry Collins for a lot of years. I've never seen him off to a start like this.
14-0 Giants. 12:47 left in the first quarter. Here's the kickoff and the fumble recovery.
Well, Troy Walters goes for it. Mo Williams is going for it at the same time, and the ball's just knocked out.
And somehow Lyle West of the Giants comes out there with it.
You know, that's one of those, when you get one of those ugly kicks like that doesn't go where it's supposed to, you never have any practice at fielding that kind of kick.
This is Walters. He breaks out of the pack and gets up to the 40. Good return, short kick.
Greg Camella ran a nice pattern on that. He's going to start here, then he's going to go out and up, and he's going to end up on Dwayne Rudd. See, I mean, he leaves there for a while, and then up there, Dwayne Rudd is about 3 yards away from him. But he made a nice move there to go to out, like he's going to the flat where Camella usually goes, and then he just took it and turned it up.
10 Minnesota at the Giants 37.
But that was the jump start that the Vikings needed.
See if they can go to work. Culpepper, a lot of time. He's going to take off, and he can run. He's got a bad ankle.
But he picked up 5, tripped up and caught by Jesse Armstead.
That was a good tackle by Jesse Armstead, you know, because Culpepper, as a quarterback, is bigger than Jesse Armstead.
Yeah.
And, you know, how do you practice against a guy like Culpepper who weighs 265 pounds, but Jesse Armstead is a very good tackler. You see, he's alert here, and then the minute that he sees Culpepper running, he just takes off and lays himself out.
He's also very fast. 2nd and 6 is always going to be good, and this year he is good.
Well, he's lost some weight, and he's playing every down.
Culpepper back to throw. Up the middle. Intercepted. Intercepted. Emmanuel McDaniel took it away.
Emmanuel McDaniel, they call him EMAC. He's the nickel defensive back, and he takes the slot. You know, with these big corners, it's kind of funny that they put the little corner on the slot. Here, Emmanuel McDaniel has perfect
He just took it away from Chris Carter.
Right. There's 4 hands there, and McDaniel's is 2 end up with it.
14-0 Giants. New York Stock Exchange. Familiar part of New York, the financial district. Familiar raucous sight. The Giants leading 14-0. Tiki Barber to the line of scrimmage. Nothing more.
Yeah, if you look at that interception again, Pat, we can see Emmanuel McDaniel's here. Now, because he has Sam Garnes here over the top, he can play underneath, or he can play aggressively on Chris Carter. You see, and that's why he can stand underneath him, because he has help deep, so he doesn't have to worry about that. And then when the ball is thrown, see how he stays underneath, and he can get between the quarterback and Chris Carter.
Collins to Barber. Dropped. Remember, he's playing with a broken left forearm. Not an excuse, but difficult to catch it.
Look at that interception again, and the job that Emmanuel McDaniel does, because right there, all 4 hands are on it, and when he comes down, he makes that twist move, and that twist move is the thing that made that an interception instead of a touchdown.
That guy he took the ball away from has got a pair of the strongest hands in the NFL, Chris Carter.
And some of the best hands that have ever played this game.
3rd and 10. Collins. Open is Ike Hilliard, and Hilliard gets a Giant first down, inbounds.
Tyrone Carter is out here on him. And you just see, here's Carter, and they just run against a zone pattern, and they're not getting a bump on these Giants receivers, so they're just running right through, and Sean Payton is calling a heck of a game.
Yeah, he really is.
Look at these numbers. They've already passed, the Giants have, for 150 yards.
That's almost as much as they got the whole game.
They don't need any of that rush until the second half.
Last week, here's Collins back to throw again, going deep again. That's the first incompletion. Ron Dixon.
I'll tell you one thing that it does, though, it lets them know that they're going to come after them all day. You know, that they can't get up there and play the run and 8 men in the box and do those types of things. This is Ron Dixon here. He's the speed guy. Remember, last week he's the guy to return that opening kickoff for a touchdown, and they have shots for him. You know, on Sean Payton's list, it just said shots to Dixon. We just saw one of them.
Logical. 2nd and 10. Collins quickly outside. They had a little miscommunication there between him and Hilliard.
That was what they call smoke, where he just takes one step and throws it out there. But watch this. I mean, we don't see many of these things this early or any time in a Giant game. This is 15 yards here. Look at this. He's 2 for 2 to the left, 3 for 4 to the right, throwing the ball over 15 yards. And the Giants, I don't remember the last time you would ever call the Giant offense a vertical offense.
It's been a long time. In fact, I don't ever remember saying that.
How about when the other 88 was there?
Here's Collins going deep again. Another shot. And this one is picked off by Minnesota. That's Don Morgan who came up with it. And the Vikings will take over at the 12-yard line, their own. 14-0 Giants. Brad Daluiso in to try the field goal.
The Vikings defense has been confused a lot in this first quarter.
From 21 yards out, it's 17-0. Daluiso's kick is good. First play of quarter number 2. Who would have thought?
Two wide receivers were going to end up being Chris Carter and Matthew Hatchett. Then lo and behold, here comes Randy Moss.
Well, they got rid of Jake Reed because of that. Culpepper pump fake. Wrestled almost down, and now he is down. Strahan around the corner. Cedric Jones with an assist.
Cedric Jones comes from the outside. It's a zone blitz. And he stuck with it. I mean, he got his hands on him and just stuck with it. And then Strahan comes. Here's what I don't like, though. They're going to throw over here. But watch Randy Moss here. I mean, they don't run a pattern there. That's that quarters that I was talking about before the game. And that's one thing I don't like about this Viking passing attack. All of their receivers don't run good patterns on every play.
3rd and 14. Around the corner, Mike Barrow came on the blitz, and he really got a great jump.
And that was on Corey Stringer again. We showed where Michael Strahan gave Corey Stringer the bull rush, and then Michael Barrow comes, and he's going to give him the speed right here. He just runs right around Corey Stringer. Corey Stringer was slow getting up. Watch him. See that? He didn't get out of his stance, and by the time he did get to that point.
1st and 10. Collins gonna throw deep, gonna take another shot. It's Dixon. Made the catch. He made the catch at about the 12. Tyrone Carter was right with him, but Dixon came down with it. Worth a shot.
This is amazing, and this is why you have to take those shots, because you never know what's going to be in the other end of them. And you see Dixon again, the fastest of the Giants, and the guy that when they're going to run a deep pattern and try and get it deep, they're going to try and get him in the game and get it to him. And that was a heck of an adjustment that he made, because that ball wasn't thrown out in front of him. He had to kind of come under control and reach back for that one.
A gain of 43 yards. First and
just sprints out, and then on play side, Ike Hilliard runs it out. Look at this, wide receiver. They've thrown the ball 13 times, completed 10 for 209 yards.
2nd down and 5 for a first. Collins fakes again and sprints left and throws. Touchdown, Giants. It's Joe Jurevicius. He didn't play last week, but he's made his presence known this week.
Yeah, they all said when we went to practice the other day, and about 5 or 6 guys come up and tell me Joe Jurevicius had a great week of practice. I don't know if Harry Carson was one of those guys, but I'll tell you, Gary Collins was one of those guys that said that.
Yes, he was.
This is what you like about Joe Jurevicius. Again, the big target, the closer you get to the goal line, the bigger the target, the better, because you can run him back to that corner and just throw it where he catches it or no one catches it.
He and Collins played together at Penn State for 2 years, so they know what each other can do. Daluiso's extra point is good with 10:24 left before the half. It's 24-0 Giants.
This is unbelievable.
They do look impressive. So Daluiso has hit one from 21 yards. Will have a chance from 22 this time. No wind today. And that in itself is very unusual at Giant Stadium. Daluiso is good again. 27-0. 5:22 left to play in the first half. 16 seconds left. 27-0. The Giants over the Vikings.
The Vikings look like they're playing with about 6 or 7 guys over there on defense.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they're not getting the pass rush. They're not getting penetration. Their defensive backs are off, and they look like they're just standing there and watching the receivers catch the ball.
You don't make many marks in the win column when you do that.
And on the other side, the Giants continue to go after them.
Yep. 3rd and goal. Here's Collins. Up the middle, touchdown, Ike Hilliard. Collins to Hilliard. Two touchdowns for Hilliard.
8 catches for 146 yards.
And we're not at the half yet.
Yep. As he said, the onus is on. The onus is on you, Kerry.
That will be the magic word from now on.
And the onus is on you, Ike Hilliard. And the onus is on you, Amani Toomer. And boy, are they playing well under that onus.
34 first-half points is the most points the Giants have scored since the 1956 championship game at Yankee Stadium against the Chicago Bears.
Ike Hilliard just ran an option route there where you start to the inside, and if the defender plays you inside, you stop and pivot out. If he plays you outside, then you continue to go inside.
Ike Hilliard, who played at the University of Florida, looking forward to a trip back to Tampa.
You know, I remember the first time I saw the Giants this year. I came to a preseason game with the Ravens. I was talking to Jason Garrett, the backup quarterback for the 49ers, and I mean for the Giants, and we were talking about, you know, players in the Giants, and he says, you know, the guy that I really like is Ike Hilliard. He said, I think that he can be something special.
The boys getting ready. Chris, Howie, Terry, JB.
They got all their papers and stuff. Look, each guy has 2 guys. Chris has none.
It's pretty good. How many guys you got?
Chris had none. I got none, guys. I'm like Chris Collinsworth. I think Terry had 4.
He did. Walters at the 10. Boy, you talk about back on their heels. Jack Golden was the man down to make the hit.
I hate to say this, it's only the first half, but the Minnesota Vikings are starting to look like they want no part of this.
Look at those eyes.
And the
short and go.
Giants, this is as I said, this is when it gets fun. And especially fun for an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
You don't get these situations in your life a lot.
34-0. Here's Culpepper back to throw it. Going deep and nothing there. Intended for Moss. He is surrounded by 5 Giants.
Well, and the one is Jason Sehorn, and Jason Sehorn, you know, felt that he could do that. I think everyone did, and that's why they put Jason Sehorn on Randy Moss. That when you get a jump ball, Jason Sehorn can jump too.
Yep.
I mean, Jason Sehorn is not only their best corner, but he's their best athlete. So John Fox says, you know, we want our best athlete on Randy Moss, a guy that has a chance to out-jump him or jump with him on those jump balls.
You think about how tired John Fox must be after the game is over, chewing that gum, and Culpepper throws it to Smith, but I think it hit the ground first. No whistle. Beg your pardon. Into the half. There was a whistle. That's the end of the first half with the score. The Giants 34, the Vikings nothing. This Fox NFC Championship special will continue from Giants Stadium after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. We'll return to Giants Stadium for the start of the second half after these messages from your local Fox station.
You're watching the NFC Championship on Fox.
With the score 34-0, you'd expect the statistical picture
to be one-sided, and it is.
Well, look at the passing. The Giants have thrown for 338 yards, the Vikings for only 20. Total yards 386. First downs, the Giants have 20 to the Vikings 3. And this is a big thing. They had 45 plays, but they only had third down 6 times. So that means that they've been getting first downs on first and second downs. This was a big matchup. Now, again, every time Jason Sehorn lines up on Randy Moss, he doesn't always play him man-to-man, but he lines up on 19 times. They threw at him 4 times, 2 completions for 18 yards.
And the one early tripping penalty. Otherwise, it's been match Sehorn.
Yeah, and then you think, what does Denny Green do? They got the players on the wrong end of the field, Pat. They'd have to switch ends.
I would figure.
Yeah, the Giants were on the Vikings end. The Vikings were on the Giants end.
There's Lomas Brown. Remember, he had a back spasm or pulled something, he said, in his back.
Yeah,
had to leave.
And there was a thing that he did a week ago too.
Yeah.
In his Minnesota Vikings, Dante Culpepper 24 passing yards, 1 interception. Robert Smith only has 6 total yards.
Yep.
And now, for all intent and purposes, he's been taken out of the game. Randy Moss has 2 receptions. Chris Carter has yet to catch a pass.
That is what you talk about, total dominance. The Giants have not punted once in the first half.
That is total dominance. See Jason Sehorn out on the kickoff coverage. I would bet he's a safety. Yes, he is.
Walters takes the short kick. Let's go down to DJ Johnson.
Hey, Pat and John, Jim Fossil said he told his team last night that everybody thinks you'll be overwhelmed by the magnitude of this game, but this game is not too big for you guys. You guys are ready for it. He said their intentions from the very beginning were to come out and pass it often. He said he knew that Kerry Collins was up for the challenge. He said that at the half, he would tell his team, you know what, right now, it's 0-0, and you're 30 minutes away from the Super Bowl. Now, talking to Denny Green, he said it's like Murphy's Law in the first half. What could go wrong, did go wrong. He said it's plain to see what they need to do in the second half. Get the passing game going, get some offensive production, and stop the other team's passing attack. He said their defensive backs have been very lax. They need to stop someone in the passing game. Back up to you, Pat.
All right, DJ, an injured Giant. That's Emmanuel McDaniel, who's down as the Vikings return the kickoff of the second half to get things started. It's 34-0, and they better get something started.
Emmanuel McDaniel, or EMAC as they call him, is the nickelback.
Yep.
And he's the guy that had that interception on Chris Carter down in the end zone.
Took the ball away from him.
He's a fun guy to watch.
Yep.
You'd think that the bigger corner would play in the slot, but they play McDaniel in the slot.
And he's not very big. First and 10, Minnesota. Culpepper back to throw. A free man comes loose, and the ball comes loose. And the Giants are saying, we got it. And they do have it. Culpepper never saw it coming, and the ball was stripped loose.
And we talked about John Fox and how he's mixing things up. That time he brought his safety, Sean Williams.
Right.
Came from the backside, and no one sees him or blocks him.
Culpepper's got the ball, but it belongs to the Giants.
Yeah, you see Sean Williams?
Yep.
He comes in, goes around, and as he's making the tackle, he keeps fighting to knock that ball out of there. He came from that right side. He came up late, got out there, and they didn't account for him. They didn't slide to that side.
Nobody blocked him.
And see, he comes from that right side. Culpepper looked like he was trying to put the ball down when Sean Williams knocked it out. Sean Williams is a guy that's been playing well for this defense.
Yes, he has. First and goal.
Well, I swear, if Robert Griffith wasn't out there making a tackle, there's not many other tacklers out there.
Collins lofting
to Toomer. Touchdown, Giants. He had all day to throw it. He waited for Toomer to sight him in and then just laid it out there.
If Gary Collins doesn't watch out, he's going to break every Giant record today.
He's broken most of them already.
Gary Collins, where in the heck did this come from? You see Amani Toomer up there. I mean, they just have these corners turned around. I mean, these corners, or all the defensive backs covering are just atrocious today for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, the wide receivers or the receivers of the Giants are just having their way with it. And they're playing with no confidence at all.
Collins has just set a new Giant record for touchdown passes in playoffs. That's his 5th. Phil Simms had 4. 41-0 in the NFC Championship game.
Smith bounce outside of it.
1st and 10 Minnesota. Culpepper back in the shotgun, looking to throw. Up the middle, picked off by Garnes, right to him. And Sam Garnes gets the 3rd Giant interception of the day. I don't know who he was looking for.
He was looking for Randy Moss is who he was looking for.
Sam Garnes with the interception. Too many people are intimidated by him. Here comes a Giant blitz. Culpepper can't get away. Armstead was the first on the scene. Flag on the play.
I have no idea what they're doing. I have no idea what Randy Moss was doing on that play.
Illegal use of the hands to the face, offense, number 77. The penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Called against Stringer.
There's Stringer right there, up here on the right. He's having a tough time out there
with Strahan. It looks to me as if the Giants have the snap count. They're getting off on the ball when the Vikings have the GM. One of the best ones was Jason Garrett because he has helped Kerry Collins so much.
Yeah, Jason Garrett helps everyone because he's one of the smartest players in football, and someday he's going to make a heck of a coach if that's what he wants to do.
If he wants to do that.
Jason Garrett would be a great coach.
Well, his dad was a coach, is a coach. Culpepper, a lot of time. Intercepted by Sehorn in the end zone. He timed it perfectly. That's an athlete.
Yeah, what's that thing about Will?
Yeah.
You know, the Giants have broken the Minnesota Vikings' will. The Giants have taken their will. The Giants have the will now.
Amazing.
Something he was always there for us, and yeah, I mean, he's the first guy in the booth. And
if I've ever seen or known anyone who really, there it goes. Faso. Montgomery gets the carry.
Jim Faso, how could he not know better?
Well, he knew it was coming.
No, he didn't know it was coming.
Of course he did.
No, you got to get in a hunker or
sure
something.
He did.
No, you saw Parcells. Yeah, Parcells knew it was coming. Watch him. I mean, that's terrible. And when you get a hit like that, that's terrible. I mean, you should never, ever, ever in your life take a hit like that.
Did that? You had some Gatorade this morning.
I know I did.
You were feeling bad when we got on the bus this morning.
I was dehydrated. I had to go into the Giants locker room and get some hydrations.
People don't know you played hurt today either. Montgomery, Burrows, and I think got another first down. A 2-bucket job on Fossil and on Fox. Fox looked like he got water. And that was Gatorade.
I wonder if they'll get Sean Payton. That would be next.
Yeah, he's not expecting it.
He's the offensive coordinator. Jim Fossil, of course, the head coach.
Well, he keeps turning around.
Look at that in this half, Pat.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
Vikings 6 minutes, the Giants over 21 minutes. What a job they've done.
They just made another first down. 41-0 the score in the event you might have just joined us. 2:19 left. The Giants over the Vikings.
You know, and Dante
Who
Culpepper.
would have thought, indeed.
Now, I was just going to say, Dante Culpepper has been such a great job this year.
Here comes.
And then this happens.
Here comes. Now let's see you take notes.
Did you see him? That's a good play caller, though. Sean Payton was right in the middle of calling a play, and he didn't miss
Never missed a beat.
He took the water in the head and kept calling the play.
2 minutes to go.
To a Super Bowl.
Giants lead 41-0.
Now this is Larry McDuff here. He's the special teams coach. Watch what you get if you're a special teams coach.
A few cups.
If you coach, you don't even get a bucket. The head coach and the coordinators get buckets.
Yep. Well, Jim Fossil, he said when his team was down, I guarantee you this team is going to the playoffs. And they're headed for the Super Bowl.
Well, it was after that Detroit game, and I think there was a lot of division in the team and in the organization. And
there's Matt Millen.
There's Matt Millen right there, who's going to run the Detroit Lions.
There's Matt as a player, a Raider.
Yeah, he was a heck of a player. I mean,
they loved it.
Matt won 3 Super Bowls with different teams. This is when he helped me in the All-Madden team.
Yep.
This is when he built our Hall of Fame thing. Matt Millen has been a big part of the All-Madden team. We even stuck him on the field once.
Yep. This has to be one of the longest afternoons, mornings, whatever, in history for the Vikings. It's the first time they've ever been shut out in their playoff history, and they've been to the playoffs a lot.
And this guy here, Dante Culpepper, in his second year, starting for his first year, had an outstanding year. I mean, and he's an outstanding guy, and he's going to be back to a lot more of these games. But today wasn't his day.
Today was the day of the Giants, as they get prepared for 2 weeks from now against either the Raiders or the Ravens. Championship T-shirts already made.
And the caps, it doesn't take them long to get it out.
It doesn't. Let's go down to DJ Johnson real quick as you look at Bob Tisch.
Hey, Pat and John, the sound you hear is the sound of the team that just made it to the Super Bowl. They've even got the sideline reporter a hat. I mean, this is getting good down here. You know, I talked to Jesse Armstead yesterday. He said no matter what they've done this year, they can't get the respect they deserve. He said sometimes if they don't give it to you, you just got to go out and take it. They went here and took it today. Back up to you, Pat.
All right, you better get that hat cut down in size a little bit.
No, Lomas Brown was standing right behind him, and when he got off camera, Lomas was going to take it back. I'll guarantee you he didn't let DJ keep that cap.
Timeout call, I'm not sure by whom. 41-0. The man next to him. He asked me one day how many grandchildren I had, and I told him, and he said, "You're a piker. I've got 40.
How many do you have?
9.
You had 9, and that was nothing.
As a piker. Clock is running down, and Fossil goes to top the shoulders. You've been through that, John. And you and I have been through 20 years.
Yep. Those are 20 great years, and this is a great feeling right here. And now we're going to have the crowning, because the Giants won the NFC Championship today, and we're going to have the presentation out on the field.
So don't go away. They'll be setting up a platform in the middle of the field, and I'd imagine that most of these fans will stay right where they are, and they have.
Well, these are great fans. I mean, they waited, and this is the last game they're going to have here, and they enjoy this team. They enjoy the football. As you said, they were here when we got here this morning cheering, and they aren't going to leave. There's no one's going to leave. If you wait this long and then you get a championship and you love your team, you don't leave before they get their trophy.
I'll tell you what, when you look back at the scores of the 2 championship games that were played here, nobody has scored against the Giants in Giant Stadium in championship game. What a job by Jim Fossil and his staff. This play of the game is brought to you by Dr. Pepper, and there were so many. We just picked the team of the game. The play of the day was carrying off the head coach. Vote for your favorite Dr. Pepper play of the day and enter the Dr. Pepper Big Game Day sweepstakes by logging on to foxsports.com. Indeed, Jim Fossil deserved it. Once again, the final score is the Giants 41. The Vikings nothing. Up next is the Southwest Airlines postgame show with JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris. Take it away, JB.
Welcome to the Southwest Airlines postgame show, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl.
All right, Pat Summerall, thank you very much. And Jim Fossil certainly deserves the Gatorade treatment there. Fossil, since the guarantee, his team now has won 7 consecutive games, spanking the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship game 41-0 as we welcome you back down field side. An unheralded team that completely dominated in every way without an awful lot of superstars, Howie.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail right on the head, JB. When Jim Fossil made that playoff proclamation, he took the newspapers out of the locker room. This season, he brought the defense together with the offense, turned over the reins of the offense to an offensive coordinator, and became more of an overall head coach. He had his finger on the pulse of this football team all year, knew when to say something to an individual to inspire him, knew when to chastise an individual, and it all paid off here. A totally different offense than we saw last week.
And let me be the first of many to eat a little crow right now, because I sure thought the Minnesota Vikings would come in here and put on an offensive show. The defense of the Giants today was absolutely phenomenal. They kept Dante Culpepper off stride all day long, and Kerry Collins, a young man, who would have believed it? Kerry Collins comes in over 300 yards passing in the first half of this game, in the biggest game of his life. A phenomenal performance.
It may have been possibly the greatest performance ever by a Giant team, as Kerry Collins, as Chris Collinsworth mentioned, with a record-setting day, guiding the Giants over the Minnesota Vikings. They head now to their 3rd Super Bowl, the first since 1990. Let's take you up on the stage and join our colleague, Terry Bradshaw.
Okay, thank you, JB. Now to present the George S. Halas Trophy, representing the NFC champion New York Giants. Please say hello to Mr. Ed McCaskey of Chicago Bears.
Terry, how are you?
I'm
Glad
fine,
to
sir.
see you. I think it's only proper that George Halas' favorite daughter, Virginia, present the trophy to Bob Tisch and Welmara.
All right, Ed. How you doing, Virginia?
This has been a fun time. And we're so happy to be here to present the George Halas Trophy to the Mara family, our long association with them, to Bob Tisch, Ernie Accorsi, and especially Coach Jim Fossil and all the Giants. Congratulations!
All right, Mr. Mara. I would pick that trophy up, sir, but it's awfully heavy. Mr. Mayor, you've been around an awfully long time. Have you ever seen anything like this Giant football team?
No, I haven't. And bear in mind, this is the Giant team that was referred to as the worst team ever to win the home field advantage in the National Football League. And today, on this field of painter's mud, we proved that we're the worst team ever to win the National Football Conference Championship. And I'm happy to say that in 2 weeks, we're going to try to become the worst team ever to win the Super Bowl.
Can I talk to Jim Fossil? Coach Fossil, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm sure Mr. Mayor and Mr. Tisch probably thought you were crazy, but since you made that infamous guarantee, your football team is now 8-0 and headed to Tampa for Super Bowl 35.
Well, I knew the type of character on this team, and the ownership
Bob Tisch, Wellington Mara have always been behind me, so when I threw that out there, this team took off, and they haven't stopped since, and I'm real proud of them.
How surprised are you? Because I think a lot of these Giant fans and the millions watching on television are shocked, actually. You were able to shut out a high-powered offense. How did John Fox and his defense do that?
Well, I tell you what, people have underestimated us all year long, and our defense, they play so hard. People thought this game was going to be too big for us. Well, it wasn't going to be too big for us at all. And John had a great game plan. Those guys played hard. Our offense came out, and we wanted to attack. We were not going to play the game conservatively. We were on the attack.
I was surprised. Was that the game plan all along, was to come out, open up this game, open it up the first 2 minutes and 23 seconds of this game. You are up 14-0, and you've taken them out of this game. Was that the whole plan all along?
We thought that we could move the football and put points on the board with our offense and maybe take them a little bit out of their game, force them into some things. But we just played well in all three phases, the offense and the defense and special teams.
Okay, let me ask you one more thing. Since you made that, there was one New Yorker that made a guarantee many years ago in the Super Bowl. His name was Joe Namath. Are you going to make a guarantee right here on this stage tonight?
You're really trying to put the pressure on me, aren't you, Terry?
No, not me. I wouldn't do that.
Let me tell you something. These guys got the focus. They got the direction. I don't need to make any more guarantees. Those guarantees will be showed right out on that field.
Baltimore and Oakland, doesn't matter.
That's right.
Okay, congratulations, Coach. Kerry Collins. Wow. Well, I'm sure the thousands of fans that are here today would like to say thank you, Kerry Collins, for an incredible performance. You broke an NFC champion passing record held by Troy Aikman today. You tied a record held by Sid Luckman of 5 touchdown passes. Just exactly how in the world did you pull this off today?
I had a lot of help. First of all, I want to thank the fans out there because you guys were incredible. And second of all, I want to thank my teammates because they gave me an opportunity when no one else would. And I'm more proud to be a part of this team and the way we fight and the way we play. I'm so happy, but we got more to do.
But, Kerry, it was the passing. I think everybody was kind of surprised. Some people last week coming off the game against Philadelphia, 125 yards. Everybody said they got to throw it, but this guy can't throw it. But today absolutely proved them wrong.
Well, that's what we say. All week everybody was talking about the matchup of our defense against their offense. Well, we're sitting around all week saying we can throw the ball against this secondary, and we need to throw the ball. And God, you look at how many guys caught touchdowns today, how many guys caught passes. It was just an all-around great effort from everybody.
Congratulations. Good luck in Super Bowl 35. All right, Michael Strahan. Well, ever since that guarantee, everybody's kind of turned this thing up a notch. Today, the John Fox's defensive scheme was outstanding. How in the world did you shut down this incredible Viking offense?
Well, you know what? One thing about being at home field advantage is that you got the 12th man, which is the fans, first and foremost. And then, when you got the greatest players that ever played in this stadium talking to you, stand on that sideline, we're going to come out and do it for those guys.
Go ahead, you're on a roll. Go ahead. All right, what about this game today? Not only the last time you played these guys, you shut Moss down. Carter has a big game. Smith rushes for 170 yards. Yet today, you shut all their weapons down. What exactly made that happen?
Well, one thing is that we all play together as a team. I don't care if you're on scout team. I don't care if you're on the starting team. When we're out on that field, we're all one. Like I said, one person ain't going to win it, and the team has to win it. We went out there as a defense. Everybody played together, limited the big plays, and right now we're on our way to Tampa to win the Super Bowl.
Congratulations. Where's Ike Hilliard? Where's Ike at? Where'd Ike Hilliard go? Mr. Merritt, go ahead.
I just have one more thing to say. I want everyone to join me in a salute to a great staff and a great bunch of players who don't believe everything they read in the newspaper or hear on talk radio.
Come here, man. You ready? Ike Hilliard, 10 catches today, When you looked at these cornerbacks, a lot of people said everybody could throw them, but last week we saw the Saints with a pretty good passing offense. They could not get it done. What happened today? How did you get open so much?
Well, we felt like we had a good game plan going into the game, and we wanted to come out and be aggressive. And we have to give credit, you know, what credit is due. Every guy played hard, left it all on the field, and we were able to make a lot of plays.
Let me ask you this. Sean Payton's offensive game plan, I said you had to go after the safeties. You got past the corners and the gaps that were open today with a deep third.
Yeah, definitely. Sean played, called a great game. And a lot of guys, open all day. Kerry made great throws. Offensive line gave him time. It was a total team effort.
Yeah, that offensive line. Pretty good offensive line, I would say. All right, NFC champions, the New York Giants, going to Tampa to play in Super Bowl 35. Now, back to James Brown.
All right, Terry, I think it's pretty abundantly clear what the Giants feel about all the talk, disrespect, overlooking them, underdogs. But guess what? They're heading to the Super Bowl in Tampa.